greeting is one of the most important parts that I think gets overlooked in the process because most people that have the agenda of attempting to sell, unfortunately, they have allowed the compensation that's involved to take control of the sales process.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Hi, and welcome back to the My Future Business Show. I have to say today, I am literally the luckiest man alive because I'm on the line with the number one salesperson in the world, Kinja Dixon. How are you, Kinja?
Doing very, very well. Excellent, and ready to continue this mission of just becoming a better version of myself and sharing along the way, man. That's all.
Yeah, look, I've checked out your bio, your website. You're doing some incredible things. You've been seen on ABC7, TedX, Good Morning America, CBS, and many, many more. You have your own book, which we're going to be deep diving into, which is called Universal Talk Laws. You're an actor, author, consultant, speaker. You clearly look after your body. You're in great shape. How is this all coming about from you? And, how do you keep up that energy to be involved in so many things?
Well, it all started about 10 years ago. February 2008 is when I kind of had to press the reset button. At 30 years old, I turned 41 in December. And 30 years old, after about, 10 years in my sales career, I was doing very well financially. I thought that I was going to be able to allow my skill set in selling to get me through. So unfortunately, which was a positive thing when I look back on it, in February, after coming from a trip to Puerto Rico with my young lady at the time, I looked at my picture and I was 300 pounds. I was a functional alcoholic. And I literally had to just look at, how did you get to this point? And when I look back, I remember about 2 years prior to that situation in 2007, I went to the bank, made a deposit, and me being born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, thinking that money was the main powerhouse of what determined your future, I remember going to Bank of America, making the deposit, and my account was over 7 figures. And I remember walking out of the bank thinking, I made it. And literally for the next 2 years, I partied, I ate out, I did everything without any type of a science, because as long as I was able to keep doing what I did at work every day, I was going to have a real bright future, according to my logic at that time. Well, two years later, when I saw that I gained about 100 pounds, increased my drinking situation by probably 50-fold, became kind of obnoxious in certain situations where I remember a young lady saying, Kinja, you changed. Like, I really got to that point where I had to take a step back and literally start with my health, start digging deeper into why I had to use alcohol as a crutch, start looking at emotional intelligence, how to curb my celebration tries to do something different, and just started a journey that launched into my second book, Recreationism, where I started focusing on 4 pillars of my life every day. I didn't realize I was focusing on these things, but when I look back about 3 years ago, before I wrote my second book, at my journal entry, because I've been journaling for now going over a decade, I saw a trend that every day I was focusing on my gym efforts. I was intentionally eating with a purpose. I was studying ways to increase my emotional intelligence. I was eager to try out new things, and I kept refining my craft in regards to sales. So those are the 4 pillars that I believe any human, if we were to focus on those inner parts of our psyche, it will turn us into continuous different versions of ourselves. So that's the short answer, actually. That seemed a little long, but that is what started about 10 years ago. which led to everything that I'm doing now. And honestly, I couldn't even tell you what the next decade is going to look like. I do know it's going to include sharing and helping people using my skills, but how, I couldn't tell you, because I couldn't imagine a play. I couldn't imagine creating this film I'm doing. I couldn't imagine now doing a fourth book and got 37 titles. I couldn't imagine an online training program with thousands of people. I couldn't have imagined these things, but once you start tapping into that energy, and this is my best way of describing it.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the difference between a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old, if you were to try to offer that 5-year-old a 1-year-old toy, it's probably not going to want to deal with it because it has grown to another level of psyche. Well, I believe we can continue that revolution as an adult if we focus on our 4 pillars. Because literally you will push yourself into different levels of your human experience, which will cause you to look at things differently, respond to things differently, and create things differently. So not only am I a user of the process, but it's helping thousands of people across the world as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing those insights. You mentioned, children, and before the call, I was actually thinking about that reading through your website, and I thought to myself, if you ever want to be sold something, you talk to a 5-year-old, don't you?
Uh-huh. Exactly. Yep. It's very innocent. Get straight to the point, and because they have that innocence with them, where they're not coming with a preset plan.
Yeah.
It's an innocence that just has you just buying whatever they're selling.
And it's also what I've noticed about children, and I think there's a major takeaway for entrepreneurs and business owners that listen to the show, Kinja, is that they have this tenacity, this perseverance. They will not give up until they get the outcome that they want.
That's another thing that we are taught as adults, which kind of, have us never finding out who we could possibly be. We give up so easily. And it's amazing. It's amazing. And I have to completely be upfront that everything that I talk about, I suffered at one time, which also makes it kind of exciting. And another reason why I don't judge people, because at the end of the day, I feel we're all connected in one universe, and we all are different extensions of each other.
Yes.
We've learned this separation situation that has put identities on all of us to have us looking at each other differently. But in all actuality, we're all different versions of one combined force of energy. I'm not going to get into that realm right now, but I just really love knowing that everything that someone goes through, I can identify with, because at some point in my life, I either knew somebody that was going through it if I didn't go through it myself.
Yeah, because we are essentially coming from the same source, aren't we? I'm taking a few things away from this to share with the My Future Business audiences, and firstly, that is the fact is that you have to have a story before you become a good salesperson. Can you talk to how it was that you became the #1 salesperson in the world, and I guess what sort of process should people be considering when they are looking to become a better salesperson?
Well, it's ironic because what took place that I'm so glad I'm able to share, because I actually had to do a rebranding after I retired in October 2012 to release my first book and start talking to companies, colleges, and organizations. Because for the first 2 years, as companies were hiring me, I remember being in front of audiences with all of these hungry salespeople salivating at the mouth, ready for me to give some quick 1-2 combo, slick mouth play to get over on people. And I'm like, no, that is not how I did it.
Doesn't feel
and
right.
so I realized that my title as a sales expert was kind of misleading, because literally what took place with me is I mastered how to adapt to people and listen to them prior to me recommending anything. And to kind of answer the question about what officialized me as the #1 sales executive, blah, 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 because in 2013, there are 2 organizations that judge customer service sales throughout the world. The Stevie organization, who's, Google, DHL, Microsoft, companies all over the world submit their representatives for different criteria every single year.
Mm-hmm.
And I won in 2013 for my 2012 sales performance, the top sales executive in the world in all other industries. So that has been done by several sales executives that have had the ability to be nominated. But what hasn't been done is about 4 months later, I won the #1 in-house sales executive in the world from the American Resort Development Award, which is the other company, if you compare them to the Oscars and the Golden Globes.
Right.
So never in the history of either of those organizations has one person won both of those awards with two separate committees in the same year. So after me doing a little research and people telling me, man, what you did is pretty big, man, because I didn't even realize it. I decided a few days later I wanted to write a book.
Mm-hmm.
But what led to the journey of the performance over the 5 years is working on my 4 pillars and not chasing results. Like literally, when I found out that I was in the running for both of those awards, I had no idea, because all I was doing was getting up every single day, going to the gym, having my preset meal plan, mastering every single client. If I didn't sell them, I was looking at what I didn't do right. I was role playing with myself. After I get off, I would take some more time and study what I did better during the day. And my performance, I turned my television service off around 2010. So this is going on my 9th year without any television service in either of my homes. Like wow. I don't even, unless I'm in the gym, working out, mm-hmm. doing my cardio, that's the only time I interact with the television. So literally what led to me being able to excel in my craft, which anyone can do, is literally being selfish with my personal development and prioritizing what was important in my life. And during this time, there were people, there were activities, there was a lot of things that just lost value, and it allowed me to just hone my energy in on my craft. So anybody, if they were able to just really take a moment and look at what they're allocating the hours of their day to, I know with my clients, I know that a lot of us are allowing tools that were created by other masters to take us away from becoming a master in our craft.
Yeah.
So like a lot of us are looking at television where we're looking at people who took years and years to become top actors. They're living their mastery while we're complaining about bills, talking about the boss is not giving us the opportunity to become a manager.
Yes, yes.
We're allowing foods that were created by master geneticists that are knowing how to combine these tastes to make people like crack addicts with food. Okay, no offense to anybody that uses crack, but we literally have people that are dedicating so much time falling victim to other people's masteries. And once I believe people start understanding, wow, I know everybody around me is doing it, but I don't have to just follow this protocol. Let me take a step back and like peel away some of the layers of some of this monotony that I'm doing that's not really helping me become a better version of myself every single day.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, so, but to specifically get to sales, I'm sorry, man. I get a little excited.
Very exciting. I'm glad to have you sharing this. Thank you.
So, in regards to the sales process, Universal Talk Laws was a little 98-page book that I thought came from my mind because after I won that second award, I remember coming back from Florida to Virginia. Mm-hmm. I was driving, just getting some air because it was a really unique month for me because I had a lot of stuff going on in my mind. First of all, I didn't understand how this could be considered the top of my world. I was 34 years old. I'm not even at my prime, I'm feeling, and I'm being told that I did something that would normally not have been done for a 25-year career. And I'm like, if this is the top, I know I have a lot more to offer.
A lot more to give.
Next, you know what I mean? So that's going in my mind. But then the service side of me is thinking, wow, what if I could just put into a little bite-sized handbook what I have done mentally when it comes to how I approach customers? And what I have realized is that there are steps that I believe in any type of a communication process, if we can like take a moment to look at these steps,
Mm-hmm.
we can disarm our client so that they're not in that position where they're feeling that anxiety that usually comes in a sales process. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're not
Yeah, so
we're trying to uncover the fact whether or not there's even a sale, quote unquote, a sale to be made.
exactly. So, greeting is one of the most important parts that I think gets overlooked in the process because most people that have the agenda of attempting to sell, unfortunately, they have allowed the compensation that's involved to
Uh,
take control
yep.
of the sales process. So the natural non-fear based, non-judgmental vibe that you talked about with a baby or with a 5-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
they have thrown that out the window because people can smell this person's trying to sell. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So when one of the things that literally I think I know helped me is that I was so interested in the client when they would come into my office. There had to be times where I had to be like, wow, wait a minute. Let's take a moment. We have to move forward, y'all. It's been like 20 minutes, and I'm just loving and enjoying y'all. And that right there is something that I just know put people in such a comfort zone because they were like, man, this person actually wants to know and learn about who I am,
Yes.
which is so not a normal situation when a person is waking up in the morning thinking about how much money I'm going to make. You
Mm,
with me on that? Does that make
absolutely.
sense?
Yeah.
So, greeting.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
Yep.
I just was sitting
No,
here
no, what?
thinking to myself, this is the premise for all relationships. Not only are you focusing on creating a relationship, but you're also, I guess, uncovering whether or not there is a problem that you can solve.
Yeah. So important, man. And that's where at the end of the day, that's where emotional intelligence comes into play
Mm,
because unfortunately a lot of people that are in the sales world that do not even have the emotional intelligence to literally they have not even earned the position to represent a company,
yes.
and it's given so many people uh, a resistance when it comes to sales. That's why when you hear sales, when you hear that word, it's not normally a positive thought process that's attached to it.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's
true.
because over 90% of all people that are in that world do not have the emotional intelligence to literally like people for who they are and to really get to know who they're trying to attempt to enhance, not
Yeah.
sell.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great shifting of mindset, isn't it? And on mindset, um, you know, is it something that, given your rapid rise to this level of performance, is it possible that people who know these things can um, make their journey far quicker when it becomes apparent they're in a role where they need to help people?
One of the first things is to take a moment and start looking at which of the four pillars. I always have to go to these four pillars
Yes.
because what I've realized along my life is that I used to not look at myself as a whole person. So I did not connect my lack of an ability to have willpower in the food area. I did not connect that to my job literally because I thought I was performing very well. I didn't connect it, Kinja. If you don't have the ability to control what you eat, that is probably going to spill into your patience when you're at work. You with
Mm,
me? So, and that impatience is going to spill into the relationships that you have at home. Okay, and that impatience and vibe that you have at home is going to cycle back around to you not wanting to come home directly after work. So literally, we compartmentalize and have our lives in these different sections and not looking at our life as a whole. So one thing that I would recommend for anybody that is in any walk of life that wants to improve is to really grade themselves in their 4 pillars and start focusing on how they can slowly but surely start creating more time within their day to increase the grades in their 4 pillars. And let me kind of break it simply so someone that's like, okay, what is he talking about with these 4 pillars? And
Yeah.
I want to give you a primary example. So health, emotional intelligence, hunger to gain new knowledge, and getting better at your purpose. So 1 through 10, each of those areas of your life. So let's say we have a person who is right now a real estate agent. They are a 5 in health. So they're not like the way I was, where literally 4 boxes of Oreos, like binging eating, like, soda, living it up. They're not as bad as me, but they're definitely not health conscious. So they're 5, okay?
Yeah.
Emotional intelligence. They are very, very short-tempered. They are used to getting things that they want. So if things don't go the way they want, they are quick to snap. So let's say they are 3 in emotional intelligence. Hunger to gain new knowledge. They really don't like doing nothing too much out of the norm because they got a house, they got a wife, they have a car, they have 2 kids. Everything is kind of set up the way they want to do, and they believe if I stay on this track, I'll be able to retire in 20 years and then live the good life. And then purpose, they do very well at their job. They went to college for it and all as well. So from the outside looking in, a lot of people would look at this person like they're successful. But the reality is, because of their emotional intelligence, they are missing so much in the other grades of their life.
Mm-hmm.
If they were to start reading a little bit about how to have more patience, understanding what those fear-based and anxiety feelings are going to do to them over the course of their life, the vibe that they're going to have with their home life is going to increase. Their ability to do even better at their job is going to increase. Their openness to have new things going on and taking their family to new outings and thinking about new activities is going to increase. And the option to try something different in their health is going to change. But that person would never know that based off of humanity's rules because they'll put pictures of their yearly trip on social media, get 50 to 100 likes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And showing the awards they get from their purpose and never even realize there are 50 to 100 different versions of themselves that could come out that would never even come because they have allowed tangible, regular life to control where they're going.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, look, it's such a wonderful story that you're sharing with us, and the process is obviously, steeped in eons of history as humans evolve. Now, I wonder, given that there are those 4 pillars, Kinja, I know that we have to start with one. Everybody's different. Is there one that sticks out more than the others that is a good starting place for someone?
And that's the thing. It's all customized. That's why on my website, recreationism.com, recreationism.com, there's a 40-question test that allows a person to answer those questions. And based off of the grade they give themselves, not a grade that the website gives, they're able to see which part of my life I need to focus on more. So literally, it's all going to be different based off the person's first 10 years of life. And that's what it really boils down to, is that most of our habits were instilled before we even realized we were learning.
Yes.
And that's why most people are a little scared about diving into this realm, because you might end up questioning some things that have become very normal in your life for years. So to kind of answer your question, but to give anybody who's affected by any of the 4 pillars, like the person with health, bottom line, if we all know, and, if you disagree or if anybody disagrees, please reach out on any of my websites and email me. But if we know that we're all made of 70% water, at least, we all know that sweating is good for our body to release toxins. And we all know that the organs like the colon, heart, intestines, liver, and lungs are all self-healing organisms that are made up of cells that want to completely regenerate and keep doing good.
Mm-hmm.
If we know that information, how much are we intentionally adding lifestyle choices to help those three foundational facts prosper?
Yeah.
So how much water are we drinking? How much food are we eating that come from water? Is our diet consistent of at least 70% of what we're made of? Or have we allowed masters, here we go again, that have come up with these ingredients that have made taste so good? Have we allowed our health to slowly but surely decline, but we can't tell because remember, our cells are regenerating, trying to fix all this damage that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Are we in a position where we are just allowing humanity to play fool on what we eat and how we drink and how we exercise? So that's a good start for somebody, anybody, to just say, wow, how much am I allowing with those three foundational facts that literally nobody can, argue against,
Yes.
emotional intelligence. If I can, just really brief on each one. Emotional intelligence, fear-based and love-based emotions are the rule of everything. Are we the type of person that literally allows fear-based emotions based off what we're looking at to just take over our life? Are we looking at people that's in a position we like and are jealous of them and don't realize that that's actually a chance for us to become inspired? Are we the type of person that, has sorrow or shame or guilt that we have been dealing with and we're now coming up with ways to forget those feelings instead of trying to overcome them and mastering the opposite of them? So that's to emotional intelligence. How much time am I putting into purposely trying to overcome these things that we all deal with as humans? Hunger to gain new knowledge, the third pillar. Am I someone that literally just keeps doing the same thing, whether I know that there are other options for me, but those other options are out of my comfort zone? So, you know what? I'm not doing bad right now, so let me just keep it up.
Yeah.
I mean, this has to do with husbands and wives. This has to do with food choices. This has to do with job choices. This has to do with the cost that you start getting after smoking for 5 years, and you just addicted and gonna keep doing it. You know what I mean? This has to do with the hangovers that we having, but it's like, wow, do I need to keep drinking as much as I'm drinking? Do I need to slow it down? Am I the type of person that just keeps doing the same thing instead of just reaching out and exploring new ways to overcome the things that I know are hurting me? And then lastly, with purpose, do I believe that whatever my position is all I'm supposed to be for the rest of my life? If you do, you are not flowing with the laws of the land, of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
The universe is in expansion mode. So I'm not saying you can't stay in your role, but you're supposed to get better at it. And if you keep getting better at it, there is going to come a day where you're going to outgrow it. I mean, that's just how things work. So that gives a little breakdown for each pillar so anyone listening can kind of take a step back, because at the end of the day, we're almost at 8 billion people. So we may think we're the biggest hot shot in town, but when it's all said and done, we are a little drop in a big ocean. And I think all of our purposes would be to try to make as much of an impact on this ocean as we can. So how are we going to do that if we don't work on the 4 things that comprise how big of a drop or a splash we can make in the ocean?
Yeah, look, for everybody who's listening today, I know full well that it's time that, we can all take a look inwards and look at our environment, how it's affecting us, what we put into our bodies, how we nurture our mind, how we take care of our bodies. And when people want to work with you and access your books, Kinja, where would they find you?
The easiest way is Kinja Dixon. Just type that in Google, and a lot of stuff will pop up. My website, kinjadixon.com, will lead you to Universal Talk Laws, my Dixon On Demand program. For Recreationism, which is my second book, that's re-creationism.com, that I recommend anybody, even if you don't get the book, just to do the HLG. Find out what your holistic life grade is. And my last and most recent book, not last, but most recent, is my young adult novel, Little Solar's Book of Superpowers. Bookofsuperpowers.com. I recommend everybody who has a child under 18 go up there and take the journey. it's a journey where I turned the solar system into a character that having a journey with 7 kids, one in each continent. And I've been about 3 schools have already ordered the book for everybody in their, I mean, every single child in their school. So it's really personal development in a really cool, entertaining way. That's what I keep hearing. It's like, wow, they get to journey, they get to meet kids in different continents, they get to learn about emotions, and they get to hear it from the solar system, which is something that can speak to everybody and not compartmentalize or segregate people into different situations based off their household beliefs.
That's a wonderful concept, turning the universe into a character. I look for everybody who's on the call with us today, as is normally the case. I will be making the links back to Kinja available on the website. Kinja, thank you so very much for spending some time with me on the My Future Business Show today.
Thank you. I'm honored. I appreciate you for what you're doing, and I'm just so honored to continue learning and sharing and growing and repeating. So thank you, brother.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.